is my acknowledgements. So I'd like to start with thanking Al Crosby. You know, I feel like when I joined the group, my background was a lot different than the work we do here. You know, I kind of had a chemistry background. I guess it was 2010 when I joined the group. And I remember walking in and sitting down, and I kind of said to him, you know, I'm a little nervous because my background is much different. You know, what I do is a lot different than what the group does. And I think at the time, maybe he had just seen the movie Taken, because he says to me, he says, Dan, you know, you have a particular set of skills. A set of skills that's going to make you really useful for this group. And I remember thinking, wow. I'm really glad that, you know, we had that conversation and that I did something that was kind of out of my comfort zone. Because I feel like I've learned a lot, and I hope that other people in the group have learned some things from me about what I thought I was good at. But what I learned here, I couldn't have learned anywhere else. So thank you. I'd also like to thank Brian Coughlin, co-chair of my committee, and Duncan Urshek, also a member of my committee, for their taking part and being really good at scheduling everything and being here. It's really been great having Brian on the committee because, you know, I came in thinking that, you know, I was kind of had a chemistry mindset, and Brian's really let me, you know, talk about chemistry. And he's always willing to let me say what I have to say and then make sure that I realize that there's so much more that I could learn and that there is so much more for me to know about chemistry. But I think especially kind of through my ORP, it's been really nice having him on the committee. And Duncan as well, you know, last time I took biology was 10th grade, and that wasn't the best experience I ever had. But working with Duncan and working in biology and working with his graduate student, Casey, you know, we went to Harvard and we studied geckos, and I learned so much about biology. And even beyond that work, you know, there was a lot more biology actually than I showed here. There was just one slide on the gecko work, and I did a lot of biology work in my time here. But Duncan really taught me about statistics. Actually, you know, in biology you have to be really rigorous with your statistics because you're working with living animals. But I feel like a lot of kind of the statistical analysis approach was really helpful in making my thesis better. And I'd also like to thank the PSE front office and staff. So Lisa, Maria, Jessica, Jennifer, Sophie, Linda, Jack, Andre, and Dr. Waldman. I guess he's not really part of it. Well, he's staff. They've all really helped me a lot. You know, making sure all my paperwork gets done, that I turned in all the stuff I need. You know, Lisa, a week and a half ago, was like, "You're not actually enrolled, so you should make sure that, you know, that happens so that you get your classes in so you can actually defend." So without her, you know, looking out for me, I couldn't have done it myself. And Dr. Waldman for all his help, kind of talking about jobs and future life and everything. So now I'm going to kind of work backwards through time. So next talk about my work in Japan. So Jinping Gong and all the colleagues that I had in Japan. So you can see her group's really big. This is my going away party in Japan. So I think this is actually the only picture where me and Professor Gong aren't next to each other. We're always like staying together. But yeah, the group is awesome. It's really like a family to me. And I enjoyed, you know, every moment I was there. So this is kind of, you know, after every party we would take a big picture together. But I have lots of pictures from other times. So if you saw us, usually it would look something like this when we're talking. You know, I'm standing around talking and she's listening, probably in that order. But I really, this was from our summertime barbecue. And I really like this picture because you can see this is actually Miss Hokkaido in the background. So she was the winner of the Hokkaido University Beauty Pageant. And I think right here she's actually trying to gain the courage to come talk to me. And if you actually stuck around at the party, you would see that ultimately she did get the courage to come talk to me. So this is me and a couple of friends that I met at the university. So this is kind of my close group. So this is Nonoyama. He is professor, assistant professor in Gong's group. He came and gave a special talk here last summer. Kuriyama-san and In-san. And they're kind of my closest group. I really like this picture because if you see that island back there, that's actually Russia. We were at the top tip of Japan. This is Wakanai. So that was pretty cool. And we went hiking. I saw this picture. You know, this is Yosan. And I realized that I'm wearing Crocs. And I went hiking. I don't know what I was thinking. Or what they thought about me. There was another picture from this trip that I saw of a guy who sold us ice cream, and it was a picture that stands out to me because he thought I was 40. Like, they asked him how old do you think I am? He said 40. I got 35 a lot, but 40 was really. So I wanted to take a picture, or have a picture here of with Talwin's son. Dr. Sun was a guy who graduated when I was there, and we worked hand in hand, kind of doing this project together. He did the work on the polyanthylate hydrogel, started that project, and I realized I don't have a picture with him, but unsurprisingly, I have a picture with his wife. So he's this picture is kind of a substitute for having a picture with her, with him. Chunk shit. So I'd like to thank Sinsan for all of his help. And finally, Gamin. She was one of the probably only people I knew that was outside of my laboratory that I worked with, and she was my teammate when we played badminton weekends. So I'd like to thank all of them for probably the best experience of my life. So going back in time again, I'd like to acknowledge Ralph Colby and Karen Winey. So Ralph Colby was my my undergraduate advisor. I did my senior thesis at Penn State with Ralph Colby. All the first years who were here, you should know him because he wrote the polymer physics textbook, which you should all know by heart at this point, I think, given tomorrow is the Q. And you can see, so actually, I think on his website, this is still his group picture, with me kind of front and center. Yeah, everybody, Penn State was a great place for me to get prepped to come here. And I remember, because I met with him, I started working with him freshman year. I think by second year, he's like, what do you want to do with your future? And I had no clue about this entire field really. I said, maybe I want to get a master's degree or something. PhD sounded scary. And he said, I think you should get a PhD. And I said, like, I didn't even know. So he really set me on this path to put me here. And I don't have any pictures from the RU I did with Karen Winey, but she was also important because at the end of my RU, she had a meeting with me and she said, do you think you want to come to the University of Pennsylvania to get your PhD? And I said, I don't think so. And she said, okay, in that case, you should go to UMass. So she was an alumni from our department as well. And that was really important because I didn't really know much about the program until she really said, it would be a great place for you if you want to do soft materials. And I think she was right. There's probably no better place. So next I'd like to acknowledge our research group. So this is kind of the picture of our group during the bulk of my time here. So Dong-Yoon, Shelby, John, Marcus, Sammy, Jun. Jun was really important to me because she knew chemistry. She talked about chemistry when, as co-advisor with Greg too. Her work was on chemistry. And that was really good for me because when she gave group meeting at the beginning, I knew what she was talking about a little bit, compared to other people, which I had a lot to learn. Yu Cheng, Mike Bartlett, so you saw him in the video earlier. He started the project that I've been working on. Me and Mike spent a lot of time together, making lots of samples, talking a lot about research, going to conferences. He was really a great guy to have around. Jin Suk, Chol, Sammy, Yujay, I'll get to her later. Mike, Yuri, everyone was really great. And also the group now, it's changed a little bit. The dynamics changed. We're younger. We're getting younger. It's like sports. It's always important to get young. So everybody else who's currently in the group, good luck, guys. I'm sure you'll do great. But thanks for making it a great place for me to work. And I'd also like to acknowledge the class of 2010 and all my friends kind of outside of my research group. So you see here, this was us on our first day of classes. We've gotten older. I think I've gotten bigger. But I thought this was funny because this was the first day of classes, and I knew that John went to Ohio State and I went to Penn State. So you see, I don't think it's an accident that we're on the different sides. At this point, we still thought of ourselves as rivals. Until you realize that once you get to New England, the Big Ten, we're kind of actually the same. We all become kind of the same. So this was us on day one, but ultimately, our relationship got better. I found this picture. Isn't this cute? He's actually running away from Brittany because he hit her on the head with an apple, which was funny. But yeah, so I wanted to thank Kyle for being a great roommate, also Tetsu. So this picture was taken at Penn State on the way to Kyle's wedding. So this was us on our kind of pilgrimage to the Lion Shrine. So see, John actually looks happy here. so Penn State's not that bad. But also, I'd like to thank Brittany for always being there to talk and ear to listen. And I'd also like to acknowledge kind of my farm share group. So this is really specifically for Maria, who was kind of the person who started all of my CSA work with me. I needed somebody who would join this farm share thing and really get me going. And at the time, she was still a vegetarian, so I'm like, perfect choice. But CSA was great. We always had so much fun going to the farm and picking flowers and all kinds of things. And ultimately, this was our group this year. So it expanded to John and also UJ. So I had to find a picture of me and UJ, and there was a lot of those to choose from. I really like this one though. This is from Shelby's wedding. And those of you that know me and UJ, it's like we fight like siblings. We support each other like siblings. Kind of the full spectrum. So thank you. And I'd like to acknowledge the softball team. So this was a long time ago. This was 2011, summer 2011. Spare parts and all the teams that came after that. It was a lot of fun. It was something productive to do in the summertime. And also recently the Korean Happy Hour group, which has been a great addition to the last couple months of this year. It's been a ton of fun. So I'd like to acknowledge my Thai friends. This was kind of the Thai group. This was the going away party they held for me before I went to Japan. So this is Paki, Nook, Eddie, Pom, I think that's Ploy, Jumpi, and also P-Gag took this picture. And they were really nice letting me be a part of their group. I kind of elbowed my way in to this thing, I think. But it was always a lot of fun and gave me something to do at lunch. And also I found this picture of me and Paki. I figured this is like her with her two favorite guys, I think. So this is a lot of fun. Okay, and finally, we'll go into family. So I'd like to thank my parents who are here today for all the support they've been giving me over the years, and pushing me when I needed to be pushed and helping me when I needed to be helped. I found this picture is from actually before my senior prom, I think. So this was me at my skinniest, I think. And my parents also look younger too, not just me. But it's kind of funny. I have some more pictures later. And I'd also like to acknowledge my sister. So for those of you that don't know, my sister was born with a disability that left her nonverbal. And Al kind of mentioned in the beginning that I can always fill a room with talking, and I think that comes from my sister, because growing up I would talk, and then I would talk for her, and then I would talk for me, and then I would talk for her, and I could do this for hours, and it would only be me talking, but I could fill a room with sound. I think that she really taught me that people, regardless of your ability, you can have an impact on people and kind of benefit positively. So I'd like to thank her for that. Also, here's another picture of my family. This looks more like us, actually. This is my cousin John. So he's probably been my oldest friend since I was little. We always spent all the time in the summers together, and pretty much whenever we're together, it looks something like this was 7 years ago. This was us, and this is 7 weeks ago. So it hasn't really changed over all this time. It's always been kind of similar. And the good thing about family is that good or bad, regardless of anything, they're still family, and they're always there for you. So I wanted to put this picture. This is my second cousin Luda, who we didn't actually know. We knew nothing about her. We didn't know. We knew we had family in Ukraine. We didn't know anything about it. We didn't know who they were, what their names were, until about 6 months ago. She came here for the summer, and this is me and John and Luda. And it's been really great having her, because Ukraine is 7 hours ahead of us, and when I'm writing my thesis, I would be writing at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So for her, it's morning. So I would talk to her late at night. She would be somebody I could always talk to at really late hours. And finally, I want to acknowledge Jess. So I thought this was a nice picture, but sometimes she looks like this. I don't know. You can't tell. Girls are really good at this kind of thing. But most of the time, actually, she looks like this. Just kind of more of her normal face. But she's been great from the time I decided to go to grad school. She told me that I said maybe I should stay at Penn State. Get my master's degree. She said no, you should focus. Focus on getting it now.